G'day everyone, it's Curtis here and welcome to an On The Back Wheel video. Today I'm going to be answering your questions about the Honda Africa Twin. If you haven't, I strongly advise you watch my previous videos on the Africa Twin. I answer a lot of questions in those. This video is just answering some questions I didn't answer in my review and other videos, and then some of the questions were just asked so much I thought it would be worth answering them and going into further detail. First question is from Jibin Raj. How good is it compared to a Touareg? Is there heat issues? No heat issues, haven't noticed any at all. I live in Brisbane and it's bloody hot a lot. I don't think it's as good as a Touareg. I think that's the best bike on the market at the moment. It's a bit of a different bike as well. It's much bigger, it's better at touring. If you're into that kind of riding, the Touareg is a much better off-road bike. It's significantly lighter, easier to handle and has better balance and suspension. I hope that answers your question. From NFI. How do you rate this compared to the previous two models? I see that earlier models are easier to turn off the ABS, but with a smaller motor. Would that be something that could change your decision on long-term ownership? Yes, definitely. The only reason I wouldn't buy one of these is because of the ABS. You know, the other stuff added to that as well, but the ABS was the big factor. If you can turn all that off, I'd be much more inclined to buy one. I haven't ridden the previous two, which is surprising. I have friends that have owned or do own one and they love them. So yeah, I can't comment on that. There's a couple more questions that go into that as well, but yeah, I haven't ridden the previous two. By all accounts, much better bike, better suspension, a bit more punch from that 1100 motor. That was really needed though. And the new one that's coming out is gonna have even more punch, which I'm really keen to try. Okay, next we have from James. When are you going to test its brother, the Adventure Sports? Good question, mate. I want to. It's just if I have the time, just with the content I want to put out and the bikes that are coming out, like we got the Tiger 900 Rally Pro, the new one. I want to test that. Then we got the CF Moto 450 MT. Really keen to get my hands on that, and I will be. Then I got the 450 RL, CRF1000 Rally, and then a couple other bikes I want to test as well throughout the year. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to. I do want to test the updated version of this, the standard, because I'm a bit more of an off-road focused channel. I think people might be interested in seeing me ride that. You know, if you want to see me ride the Adventure Sports over this, the new 19-inch front and everything, let me know. Super keen to test out the new model though. Okay, we have from a lot of people, so I've kind of condensed this, but it's from Jabbers 007 and lots of others. How tippy does it feel? I don't find it to be tippy at all until you're in the really slow stuff. How's the center of gravity? Good. I find it to be a very well balanced bike. Not as good as 800D because that's just lower slung in general, but it's a well balanced bike, especially when you're moving in flowy trails. Does it feel heavy? Yes, it certainly is a big heavy bike. If you're pushing this thing around the garage, it's a heavy machine, guys. And then if you're riding slow off road or in the car parks, definitely a heavy bike. Look, honestly, it's fine once you're in flowy stuff. Not an issue at all, but yeah, definitely feels heavy when it's slow going. From Andrew Chalor, how's the mileage? Not as good as I would have thought. I'm getting 5.9 litres per 100 kilometres. I thought that would be lower. That's with a mix of highway riding, off-road riding, easy and hard, and going to and from work. So just your typical riding. I thought it would have been in the lower fives. If you're doing just highway stuff, it is a bit better. It goes down into the fours. But even just going to and from work is in the 5.5, 5.6, which, you know, I don't thrash it to and from work. I'm just cruising, riding normally. So yeah, I thought that would be better. For normal adventure riding, it's probably fine. For me, I don't do like huge, long distances between fuel stops, so it's not really an issue. I probably do like 200, 250 per day, you know, but if you're looking at the 300 range or something like that, your ass might be starting to pucker and get nervous looking for a servo. So big Ks, maybe look at the Adventure Sports, mate. Will Walker, how many times can you pick it up in a day? Well, I picked up 3 in one morning when I was at Glasshouse Mountains. Fine, you know, no issues, and it was hot as hell. But it is a big bike to pick up too, like it's heavy. From iTouch iPods, how do you find the tyres, guys? guy, righto. Mate, I don't really like them. They're not my style of tyre. They're very good in the street. The rear's okay off-road, but the front gives you some nervous moments, to say the least. It's not a great front tyre off-road, and the rear's not good when it gets muddy or anything mixed as well. I find I was riding nowhere near as quick as I would off-road or pushing in corners just because of the tyres. If you're riding predominantly on the street and basic gravel and basic dirt, I'd leave them on, get your money's worth out of them, and go to something more off-road orientated. From Hold the Line, how hard is it to do slow terrain, typical mountain fire road stuff when you're used to a lighter bike? Mate, good question, especially saying when you're used to a lighter bike. If you're coming from an enduro bike, it's going to feel like an absolute tank. It really does. But here's the thing, these big bikes are actually really capable in flowy, 2-track or fire roads. They're really good in that, and then you get the power on top to have a lot of fun. But when you're getting slower, they are an absolute handful. If you're coming from like a 450 or 302 stroke or even something lighter, yeah, it's going to feel like an absolute handful. From Doug Bisbee, how do you find it off-road? Yeah, really good. I did do an off-road video. If you haven't watched that, check it out. I did a lot of good riding in that video. I find it really good off-road. It's very capable. It's got great ground clearance, and I noticed that you're not getting stuck in the four-wheel drive ruts and stuff like that. Suspension works well. It feels great in the flowy stuff. It just does get big and heavy when it gets slower. But I really like it. It feels like a big Dakar bike. It's pretty off-road orientated for a big machine. From Gloss Black, how did you find it standing up in attack position? Mate, the first time I stood up, I was like, oh, this is a bit weird. The bars felt a bit low and there wasn't much to grip onto in the midsection maybe. But I got used to it. That after half a morning's ride, I was like, yep, felt completely natural. Probably still want to put the bars a bit more further forward. I've already done that once or twice now. I probably want to do it just a bit further because they're quite flat and low. And when you're in attack position, you just have to make sure you get right down the front and pivot at your hips, however you're supposed to do it. So you're quite low because it can feel like it's a bit far down. But in terms of gripping in the midsection, you could maybe use some steg pegs. That'd certainly help. But I don't really find it to be an issue. I had a good time riding it in the attack position. From Chris Deba, would you recommend a slightly used one or a new v-strom for the same price? Oh man, that's a tricky one. For the same price. Well, at the moment in Australia, they're doing a deal for 18.5 grand right away. You're getting a bash plate, a spare set of Pirelli STRs, which are better than these. It's still not great, but spare set tyres, and bark busters. So that's fantastic value. I'd maybe lean that way unless you're getting a farkled up 800D for the same price. And it depends, some people don't like buying new and used, so that's completely up to you. You're obviously considering, if you're thinking about getting a slightly used one of these, this is a better bike, the 800D. It's got more power, suspension's better, set up stock. Cruise control is really good as well. So yeah, I think it is a better bike, but if you haven't watched my review, just check out, I don't like the ABS in this at all, and I just wouldn't buy one because of that. It might be a lot better with better tyres, but I can only review what I've got, And even saying that, my v-strom didn't have that initial ABS kicking on like this does with this crappy tyres it came with. So mate, I would lean towards probably the 800D for the same price because you're getting a new bike. Getting a new bike, it comes with those accessories at the moment that are fantastic value and good quality, like bark busters and their bash plate are really good. And then go from there. So I'd probably lean towards the 800D at the moment for the same price. When the new one of these comes out though, maybe go that way, we'll see how it is. From Sam Long, what did you think about the stock tyres on simple off-road riding or dirt roads? Did you like all the torque she has, and did it feel like a decent road bike? It's a fantastic road bike. It's really nice on the road. I do like the torque. It's got a smooth linear motor. It's really nice to use, and it just lopes along. Like, it's quite tall geared. You can do that kind of stuff all day, roll on and overtake people on the highway. It's nice in that regard. I do like the motor. What do you think about these stock tyres for simple off-road riding and dirt roads? Mate, they're completely fine. Yeah, I think you'll have no issues at all. If your kind of adventure riding is going through beautiful locations, going on easy dirt and gravel roads, those tyres are completely fine. It's just when things get wet or a little bit skatey, that front's gonna really let you down. But mate, yeah, I would use them until they're worn out and get something else. From Bucking Fasted, that's a good name. V-strom 800DE, Honda Transalp 750 or Africa Twin? That is a popular question, mate, for sure. This would be the best bike. I haven't ridden the 750 yet, but I'd then say the 800DE is just based on how it is in stock form. But the Honda Transalp's really cheap, so it depends how much you got to spend. Like that 800D at the moment with those accessories is great value for what you're getting. It's got better stock suspension than the Transalp as well. But the Transalp's so cheap. It's like $9,000 cheaper than this right away. It's ridiculous. And for that price, you can put in some YSS suspension and get an inch further travel on that as well, if that's your kind of thing, with a shock and cartridges, and get some accessories and you're ready to rock. Like, yeah, this is much more premium in a lot of ways, the fit and finish and how it's set up, but depends how much you got to spend, mate. But in order, if money's no object, Africa Twin, 800D, Transalp. I know for a fact many of your viewers will be older gen CRF1000 owners. Ask me how I know. Wink, wink, smile, smile. So he's got one, guys, in case you didn't get that. So is it better than a 16 AT with upgraded suspension minus the fancy electro gadgets? Cheers from RSA. Mate, I mentioned before I haven't ridden that model, so I can't say definitively, but I would, off the top of my head, say no. I wouldn't get this over one that's already completely set up. Just because, one, you can turn off all the electronics, which is fantastic, but if you want one of these Farkles, I would just wait till the 24 model, the updated 24 model comes out in the middle of the year and look at that. It's going to have more punch. This mode is better than 1000, they say. But then I found it, it wasn't amazing, whereas the new 1100 is supposed to have a bit more punch all around, and I think that could be really worth investing just for fun. Like, do you need it? No, but it's fun and nice to have. And hopefully they look into the ABS a little bit for me, and a couple other things. And it comes with tubeless tyres, so if that's something you're into, it really could be worth looking at as well, the new one. But I wouldn't upgrade this from a setup 1000, no. From Brap 8502, what's the aftermarket parts situation? Always good to know for new buyers. Yep, mate, good point. There's a boatload out for this. This model's been out for a few years now, and it has a lot. They vary in price significantly. Some of the crash bars are exorbitant in their price, but you can get pretty well everything for it. Bark busters, bash plates, crash bars, exhaust, you name it, is pretty well out there for it. Another question, can you look into mods that you would do and that are being done? Mate, I had a quick look. Off the top of my head, I can easily tell you what I would do. I wouldn't take it off-road without crash bars. It's too pretty and nice a bike to drop and damage, and it's got a lot there to damage. It really needs a good set of handguards on it, so I'd do that straight away. I snapped that lever so easily, it wasn't funny. I would change the tyres, and then probably just leave it as is, to be honest. After that, it'd be ready to rock. A lot of people are doing an exhaust, and believe it or not, a rear shock. I didn't find the shock to be too bad, so I know, each their own though. If you want to Farkle something, go for it. There's nowhere to put your phone or GPS, so I would look into that. I've put my quad lock on with my phone, but then my quad lock hits the tank because it's a bit bigger and it rubs, annoying. There is a module people are installing that allows you to change, I believe it's your traction control and wheelie control on the fly, just pressing one button or holding in, turning it off. That's a pretty cool idea that seems to be quite popular too. And people doing bash plates a lot. I'd probably look into it if I was doing serious off-road stuff. I didn't find the base one to be too bad. Like, it's a bit thin and spindly, but it's got good ground clearance. Am I going to be smacking the big rocks in this? Probably not, hey. It's too nice a bike. We have from Ben Arnott, how are you, mate? Good to hear from you. How is it to pick up compared to the KLR and Strom? Mate, very similar, much the same. Heavy as hell. Especially, you know how it is, mate. You've crashed your bike with me and you had the same bike. When you pick them up, they're just heavy. This is no different. It's very similar. It might even be a little bit harder than the KLR, to be honest. It's a big, heavy machine to pick up. Extremely similar to the v-strom. The v-strom may be a little bit easier because it's just lower to the ground. But yeah, pretty hard to pick up. So this might be one of the last videos I do on the Africa Twin. I've had it much longer than anticipated, which has been great. I've been flat out recently, so it's good to have something for a long amount of time, really get a good gauge on it. I'm then going to move on to my 800D. I've got an exhaust and a few other things I'm going to do to that yet. And then get some more bikes to review. Well, hopefully Honda give me some more bikes, because I said I would buy one of these. We'll see how we go with that. All right, if you haven't, make sure you click that subscribe button. It's great to grow the channel. You're supporting an independent motorcycle reviewer who tells it how it is. And I'm gonna look at doing some more things with the channel too. Maybe some memberships, some perks and stuff like that, and merch. We'll see how we go. All right, if you haven't clicked that subscribe button, and keep it on the back wheel. Catches.